Formula E finally returned from its 7-week hibernation this past weekend on the streets of tropical Sao Paulo, Brazil. Going into this race, there was a fair bit of concern about the action on track, as Season 10 of Formula E had unfortunately produced 3 duds on the bounce to open the season. Luckily for us, this second race around the Samba Drome was anything but, so stick around as we give you an in-depth review of the Formula E 2024 Sao Paulo EPrix. Now, Pascal Wehrlein started on pole alongside Stoffel van Dorn after a scintillating pole shootout where the pair were only separated by 2 1,000ths of a second. Further back, Max Günther, who qualified in third, was forced to take a combined 40-place grid penalty for changing his gearbox, and instead of starting from sector 2, the German was forced to take a 10-second stop-go penalty at some point in the race, meaning that his race would be very difficult. It was a clean start off the line as Wehrlein kept the lead going into the first corner. Further back, Mitch Evans got past Jean-Eric Vergne, and Antonio Felix da Costa moved up to 6th after the opening lap. The attack mode cycle opened on lap 2, jumbling the order up and allowing da Costa to hit the front, with Sandberg behind him in second. Günther also took his draconian penalty, putting him almost half a lap down on the rest of the field. What became quite clear early on in the race was that overtaking was possible, and that we could see a return of the peloton-style races that we saw at times last year. Cars being closer together would inevitably lead to more contact, and that's exactly what happened to championship leader Nick Cassidy on lap 5, as the concertina effect contributed to him making contact with the back of Eduardo Mortara at turn 5, damaging his front wing. There was more contact further back as Lucas de Grassi lost his front wing on the main straight after Norman Nato ploughed into him, leaving debris all over the track. This brought out a short safety car. Notably, it allowed Max Günther to catch up to the back of the pack and negate some of the damage from his penalty. With the safety car ending, many drivers took the opportunity to take attack mode right away, which allowed Mitch Evans to take the lead of the race. The Kiwi then followed his competitors in taking attack mode the following lap, allowing Sandberg to lead his first laps for McLaren. Meanwhile, Jake Dennis and Max Günther were making moves and progressed up the field to 4th and 16th respectively. As if one damage at Cupra wasn't enough, Nico Müller was forced to come into the pits on lap 14 after suffering front wing damage and being shown the meatball flag. It was a rough day for the Swiss driver, who would have been hoping for points after starting P7 on the grid. Like their powertrain customers, the Mahindra drivers would have been hoping for points. However, they didn't make life easy for themselves as they both missed T1 on lap 15, causing them to lose several positions each. The race reached a pivotal moment on lap 16, when Nick Cassidy's front wing suddenly failed, leaving him unable to steer his Jaguar. Going through the high-speed corners of Sector 3, Cassidy understeered into the wall, causing significant damage to his car and dislodging his rear right tyre. It's likely that the wing failed due to the damage suffered early in the race. He was forced to retire, and his large championship lead had suddenly disappeared in a puff of tyre smoke and carbon fibre. All in all, it really encapsulated Cassidy's poor weekend, the first season where he's looked off the pace of his Jaguar teammate Evans. The safety car was brought out again to deal with the damage, and when we got going again on lap 19, it set up an intense final 15 laps to the flag. Günther had made his way up to P9 and into the point, showing really strong pace in his Maserati with the aid of his new gearbox. Sandberg was in the lead and looking like he had a real shot of getting McLaren's first victory in Formula E. However, the drivers behind had up to 2% more energy than him. The other drivers were also trying to optimize their positions as the laps ticked down. Dennis overtook da Costa for P4 on lap 21 with a bold move at the first corner. Günther also overtook Van Dorn for P8 several laps later. There would be some moments further back that would threaten the intense race at the front with another safety car. Former champion Nick de Vries damaged his front wing after contact with Nato on lap 24, and on lap 26, Muller stopped at turn 1 but was able to get going again before the field came around. On lap 28, Evans overtook Bird with a straightforward move at turn 4 to take the lead and put himself in position to repeat as winner of the Sao Paulo EPrix. Dennis would also make his way up to the final podium position, overtaking Wehrlein that lap. However, the searing Sao Paulo temperatures were starting to take their toll on the drivers and especially the cars. Dennis was told not to use the curbs on the final corner, compromising his run onto the main straight. Bird, who was now P2, was told to cool the right side of his car, forcing him to duck out of the slipstream of Evans on the straights. With 2 laps to go, the race win looked wrapped up for Evans, with Bird on 1% less energy behind. Jake Dennis, who was P3 and had energy to spare, was slipping away from the leading pair. At this point, multiple cars, including Evans and Dennis, were starting to struggle with battery derating. On the penultimate corner of the race, Sam Bird capitalized on this, sending it around the outside of Evans at turn 9 to take the lead of the race in the final moment and win his first race since the 2021 New York City EPrix. If that wasn't enough, Oliver Rowland managed to take the final spot on the podium with an outrageous move at the final corner, allowing him to get the cutback on both Dennis and Verline at the checkered flag. So there you have it, a hectic second race at Sao Paulo, cementing the track as a fan favourite and one we hope is on the calendar for years to come. Now, without further ado, let's go over the race results and the championship standings. Sam Bird, with his first win in almost 3 years, is P1, Evans gets his first podium of the season with a P2, and Rowland gets back-to-back podiums with another P3. Verline was the lead Porsche in P4, with Dennis P5. Da Costa finished P6, getting his first points of the year, with Vern, the lead DS Penske, P7. His Belgium teammate Van Dorn finished P8, with Gunter finishing an excellent P9 after starting last and receiving a stop-go penalty. Rounding out the points was Sebastian Buemi, who also got the bonus point for fastest lap. Your retirees include championship leader Nick Cassidy, as well as Muller and Hughes, who retired in the pits. Sergio Set Camara was also disqualified from 16th on the road for using too much power. Finishing up with the championship standings, Cassidy manages to stay atop the championship order with 57 points. Verline has now cut the Kiwis' lead down to 4 points in second with 53 points. Evans moves up to third with his podium, and Vern drops down fourth, with the pair tied on 39 points apiece. Dennis is fifth with 38 points, one ahead of race winner Bird in sixth. Rowland's second podium on the bounce moves him up to 7th on 33 points. Gunter is 8th with 22 points, one of 4 drivers to score in every race so far this year. Buemi is the lead Envision in 9th on 20 points, leading his teammate Frines in 10th with 19. Hughes and Van Dorn are tied on 18 points apiece in 11th and 12th, and next in 13th and 15th are the rear gunners for the 2 Porsche-powered teams, NATO and Da Costa, on 9 and 8 points respectively. Sandwiched in the middle is Fenestras in 14th, also on 8 points. Set Camara is the last driver to get off the mark with a pair of points scored in Diriyah. Of the remaining drivers, rookie Jehan Daruvala is yet to get off the mark, and he'll need to bag some points in the coming races if he wants to keep his seat into season 11. Well, that's all from us for the Sao Paulo EPrix. Next up is the inaugural Tokyo EPrix in a fortnight, which should be an exciting affair.